Hello, everyone. Today we have Siddhant with us. Uh,
Hi
Siddhant,
everyone.
please introduce yourself.
Yeah, so good afternoon, good morning, whenever you are watching at your convenience. So my name is Siddhant Singh Sikarwar. I was working in IT industry since last 6 years almost, and I have just switched from a service-based company called TCS to Optum.
Okay,
So
that's
basically, my profile is of QA engineer, both manual as well as automation.
great. Nice to know, Siddhant, that you are switching from a service-based organization to a product-based organization. That's really
Okay.
great. So, like before discussing about the interview of Optum, we would like to know what kind of work you are doing in TCS.
Yeah, so as I started my career as a fresher in TCS, and I come from a non-technical background. I mean, I'm not from computer science or IT. My background was electronics, and in our college also we were not aware of coding or anything like that. So you can consider that TCS itself was my graduation and also my job. So it was a combination of both. So I started my career as a manual tester. So basically, in the initial years, we were just expected to write some SQL queries to verify the data in the database. We were using Oracle at that time, and we were given UI for testing. So very basic UI, like you have to enter some values in a text box, and you have to verify that whether is there any error or you are able to log in. Okay, so like
Okay, got
that,
it. Hmm.
very basic understanding of testing was given.
Okay, and like TCS was the only organization you worked.
Yeah, yeah. So TCS was the first organization which came to our college placements, and once we got placed, we were not then allowed further to sit in
Okay.
any organization.
So
Yeah,
it has been like almost 5 years for you in TCS.
yeah, more than actually, so
Okay, more than five.
around 5.5.
And what was your position, last position in TCS?
I was working as an IT analyst. So
Okay,
there are something multiple promotions which we go through in TCS. So we start as an assistant system engineer to trainee when we join, and when we were provided with the initial learning program that is called ILP in TCS, which is nothing but a prepaid holiday for every new join.
yeah, I
So
agree.
and right. So after that, we step by step, I was promoted to ITA.
Okay, great. So when did you like felt like this is the right time I need to look out for jobs, and how did you actually like prepared for switch?
Yeah. So it started. Actually, I was interested from always. I was interested and I was fascinated by these coders and people who are doing coding, and they are talking very technical terms. But I was not. My foundation was not very strong in that area. So a couple of first initial 2 3 years were was it took my mindset to make myself understand that okay, even we can do coding.
Hmm.
So that is a major issue with most of the manual testers. Still, there are people in manual testing who have 9 or 10 years of experience and they feel stuck. So I don't think any company can make you stuck anywhere. It's we who get stuck, and we chose
Exactly.
to get stuck.
We get in a comfort
So
zone. So like
right, exactly,
once everything is going fine and you are getting that monthly salary, so you don't feel like upgrading yourself, and so you should have a balance between like enjoying and learning. So if you are doing both,
exactly,
so that's like this is the age in which you have to enjoy, and this is the age in which you have to like learn and like switch organization. Because accept it that if you don't switch, no matter like which organization you are currently in, you are not going to grow in the same pace as your peers. So yeah, that's great. So now coming to your Optum. So before like getting a call or offer letter from Optum, was there any other organization you cracked?
Yeah, so Optum, I think, was the fourth organization
Okay,
from which I got an offer. Earlier offers were from a small company called Testing Experts, for Publicis, Sapient, and HCL.
okay, that's
So
great.
these were the companies.
Sapient is also a good organization. So
Right.
perfect. So like in this like video, we will focus mostly on Optum. So like walk through the journey of how the process goes. Were there any like technical rounds or how everything goes? Just walk through us right from like
Sure.
first round.
Sure. So, since Optum is a product-based organization, and we all of us who are working in a service-based company, we are always fascinated and want to work in a service-based organization or
Product.
product-based
I
organization.
totally agree.
So, I from the first day of applying jobs, I was applying constantly to Optum, but due to 90 days no notice period, I was not getting calls. So that is something which I would like to tell people, that Optum, you usually even though they also have 90 days no notice period, I got to know when I joined Optum, but they also want, and in fact everybody wants immediate joiners only.
Yeah.
So I got a call from Optum when half of my notice period was completed, and it was a call from a consultancy.
Okay.
So after getting a call from the consultancy, they asked very basic questions, that what is your area of expertise, and how comfortable are you with basic programming and automation. So that was a basic, mainly opportunity in automation domain only. So then when he was satisfied that okay, I have some experience in automation, he navigated me to the HR. So similar kind of questions the HR asked, and after that my first technical round was aligned with the Optum senior, whoever person was that.
Okay. So before your technical round, there was no like written or any MCQ type of thing.
No. In
Okay.
my case, it was not the case. I gave one interview for Nagaro also. So there it was 1 hour round which they take. But
Yeah.
in Optum, directly my interview was scheduled.
Perfect. Perfect. So like how many like people were there in your first round, first technical round?
So in first technical round, only one person was there. So
Hmm.
she was a senior QQA who was already working as a automation team lead. So she took my interview, and shall I explain like what was the process of, like, what coco questions she asked and everything?
Yeah, like basically like everyone start with your introduction, and after that
Right.
like how things went, what was the difficulty level. So just walk through us.
Sure. So yeah, after giving my introduction, she basically asked me to explain my framework. So she wanted to understand like how much in-depth knowledge I have of the framework I was working on. So basically, I am working on a hybrid framework. It's a combination of both keyword and data driven, and it's TestNG basically we use. So
Mm-hmm.
mostly the questions were in that area only. That test, what are some TestNG annotations? Okay, and why basically you are going with TestNG? What are the advantages of a TestNG? And other than that, why you are using Maven? What is the requirement of Jenkins?
Okay.
Yeah, so all my technology stack, at least there was one question with that. So even if you have not worked with Jenkins, or you are not familiar with Jenkins, so at least prepare basic
Yeah.
questions of Jenkins and Maven also.
Yeah, I would like to add one thing here that like writing code is one thing and deploying to Git is the second thing, and like making the CI/CD pipeline. So that's how an organization works. So like either you should aware of Jenkins is something like which you should be aware. So at 5 to 6 years of experience, like it is expected out of a QA engineer that he know how to build and deploy and to like release the pipeline. So
right,
yeah, either like you go for Jenkins or Azure DevOps, but you should be aware of any one single CI/CD pipeline tool. And
right.
one more thing, like, is are there any Java, like basic Java questions asked?
Yes. So after initially after explaining her my whole framework, she started with the basic Selenium Coco versions, like what is the difference between find element and find elements?
Hmm.
What are their return types?
Return types.
Okay, yeah, and if how would you navigate between three multiple windows, multiple frames? And after that she opened a Guru 99 website, and she asked me to find some elements. I had to write XPath, and I had to find some elements. So initially she gave me three elements to find. So the first two were very easy, like the basic
Hmm.
XPath, and the second one was you using the text keyword. The third one, in that she told me to use the sibling concept.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would like to tell everyone that parent and sibling concept in XPath also you should prepare,
Yeah.
because that gives them that impression that okay, you know that in-depth knowledge of XPath.
Yeah. So nowadays, like what happens, there are certain tools which like generate XPaths for you, and it's very easy. Like I personally use them, but like using them is a different thing. But like you should know how to find an XPath and how the like the tool is internally working. Because if you are not able to find an XPath, so there can be an element uh, which the tool is not able to find it, and you have to manually
Exactly.
find that XPath. So
Right.
like the sibling and parent and sibling concept is the one which differentiate XPath from CSS, because as you know, like CSS doesn't have this feature. So that's what like this is also a difference between both of them, and this is also a famous interview question. So yeah,
Right.
that's great. That and
And
after.
yeah, and after that she started with some basic Java questions. So I thought that she will start with like some specific Java questions, but what she asked me that no, not only you explain me what are the OOPS concept you know, but you also explain me how you applied those OOPS concept in your automation framework. So this is the case where if anyone is bluffing with their experience, like whether they have not actually worked on automation, they know Selenium through a course or
Mm,
tutorials, but they have not actually worked. So this is a bit of a tough one for them.
yeah.
So since I worked on them, so at least basically you can start with like explaining them inheritance, and how the base driver class is the parent class, and it drives all our other
Yeah.
classes. So we extend the other classes with this base class. So one by one, I keep on telling her like inheritance, method overloading, overriding,
Mm,
encapsulation, that how we can save the security of the data. We can make it more secure through
yeah.
encapsulation.
just like
And
we
after
make just like we make private variables so that
exactly
we can
right,
call them in the public methods. And so this is because like when I started learning Selenium, also used to like private like this variable, define a private variable. But at that time, like I also know encapsulation, but I was not able to relate how
exactly
like I'm using the encapsulation in my current framework. So this is like this is the experience which you get out of giving interviews. So don't think out that okay, I'll start giving interviews when I'm 100% prepared. So what, like I have seen some of my friends doing it, that even if they are 50% prepared, so what they started giving interviews, writing down the feedback, the question ask, and just started preparing them. Although I personally don't like follow this approach, but still like this is a good approach to at least learn and see what kind of questions are getting asked. So that's a great way to prepare. And like this is a hot favorite question nowadays, how you are using oops concept in your framework. So guys, if you're preparing it, just like prepare, and possibly like we can make a different video explaining how we are doing it. Yeah,
Right.
continue Siddhant.
Sure. So after that, the progression was that then she moved after she got an idea that I know about OOPS concept. She moved on to collections part. So in collection, she asked me that what type of collection you usually and most frequently use. So I told her that frequently we are using array list, or you can say a list interface.
Yeah,
So directly she asked me that why you prefer array list over array. So at that time, I gave her a very a diplomatic kind of answer that no, I don't prefer array list over array or array over array list. So both have their advantages and disadvantages, but we have to understand like where we need array list and where we need array. So if we know that we have a fixed length of elements and we don't need to add or delete the elements, so there we can use array, and arrays are much faster than array list. But
exactly.
obviously, when we are dealing with the dynamic framework or the dynamic web tables, the count of elements are always changing. So it's better to store the elements in a list.
Yeah. Similarly, if you are if you see any list like drop down, so what we used to do is that we capture all these drop down in a list, and through list interface we iterate over them through for loop. So this is also an
Right.
example of using collection in your framework, because like no matter in which website you go, you are going to encounter at least a drop down. Okay. So this is it. And one more thing which I feel is that like collection framework, like 2 to 3 years back, it was counted at like if an automation engineer, if he or she doesn't know collection, that's okay, like kind of okay, it's
Right.
kind of a little like medium to difficult. But nowadays it is if you are going for an automation interview, please prepare at least like array list and list, like set your set, and at least hash maps. So this is going to help you, and like
Exactly.
these 4 to 5 things are pretty much like expected out of an automation engineer. Because if you
Right.
are
Right.
making framework, then obviously like you cannot escape by using collection framework. So if you are going for an interview, just like go through them and at least have some basic idea what each and every like module is doing.
At least OOPS and collections, I would suggest everyone to prepare,
And
because these are the two very important questions.
with this like try to relate it with your framework, where and how you are using your collection framework in your framework.
Exactly.
So this is what like separates, because anyone can read it over the net, and like people try to cram. But if you have worked seriously worked, then obviously like it will not be that much difficulty for you to answer. And Siddhant, like has she asked any coding question?
Yes. So
Okay,
after collection, she asked me to share my screen, and she asked me that whether you work on any ID on your personal laptop. So whenever I give any interviews, automation interviews, I already before the interview I already open Eclipse in the background. So
great.
I opened Eclipse because it's always better that to write a code in Notepad versus writing a code in Eclipse, because at least your syntax error are taken care by Eclipse, and you don't need to
Cram
focus
it
on
and
what
remember
mistakes
it.
you can,
Yeah,
yeah, what mistakes
exactly.
you will do at the syntax level. So the
Hmm.
first question which she gave me was from a string, and she asked me to verify that whether the string is a palindrome or not. So it's a basic question, and the
Yeah.
string was my name is Siddhant. So she asked me to first reverse it and verify it you using uh, like I need to with my code I need to show that it's not a palindrome string.
Okay. Okay.
So I did it pretty fast. So she like got an idea that I am comfortable with the palindrome, or I am already prepared with the palindrome
Yeah.
question. So then she told me that okay, now I want output like my should be YM, is
Okay.
should be as I, but you don't have to reverse the whole string.
Yeah. Reverse the letters inside these.
Letters, individual
Yeah, I
letters,
got it.
and the string should be same.
Yeah. So
So
just to give you
I
an
was
example,
able
like
to do
if
that.
I love my India, it will be like I, and love will be reversed. So V,
Exactly.
like EVOL. So that kind of a thing.
Right. So if you are frequently preparing for automation interviews, and you are constantly doing at least 1 hour of coding every day, so you will might get an idea, and you will be able to do it. Even that is not a very
Yeah, this is
difficult
like
question.
both these questions I will rate pretty easy, because as an
Yeah,
automation engineer, like you are expected that these kind of basic, because so like my idea, like as an interviewer, why I ask these kind of questions is because like we are going to work with strings, and if you are good with strings, that means like you will not face that much problem while working with the framework and like understanding the code. So that is my thinking behind asking these kind of questions in an interview.
exactly. And
And
the second question which she raised in this string itself, that she wanted me to print the characters and the number of the times they are getting repeated.
okay.
So out of my name is Siddhant. I mean, M is repeating two times, Y is
Yeah.
repeating one time. So that she asked, and after that she told me they just modify this code and just print the first non-repeating character.
So were you able
I
to
just want,
print the
yeah,
like
yeah.
number of, so how what was your approach like?
So I used one array list.
Okay.
So first, initially I created an empty array list of character data type.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I you used a for loop. I started iterating the whole string,
uh,
and then I was, if the characters are not present in the array list, so I started adding them, and
yeah,
then I
got it,
used
got your approach.
internally one more for loop. Yeah.
Great, yeah, that's great. And what was the third like question, coding question?
Third question was there is only that in that she just modified that, just stop your program at the first non-repeating character.
Okay, yeah.
Uh,
So this
so
is
you
how
have
things
to,
work. Like if you keep on answering, the like bar will be getting raised. So this is kind of a bar raiser question. That's great, Siddhant.
exactly, exactly.
Perfect. And any more questions after this?
No, no. So in the first technical round, only the basic Selenium and basic Java was asked,
Great.
and after that, I think the second day I got a call from the HR that your first round went well and we are scheduling your second round. So I asked itself that what kind of round it would be, whether it will be a managerial round or a
Technical round.
technical round again. So
Mhm.
she told me that it's a techno managerial round. So
Okay, so
both
the
kind of questions
managerial,
can be there.
like, yeah, the managerial is going to ask you some technical and more managerial questions. So that is
Right.
generally what happens in a like for 5 to 7 years experience of guy. The first, like, if you have cleared first round well, then obviously like the organization is not going to spend another 1 hour resource on you. So that's why like generally like the second technical happens for 10 plus year of guys. That's what I have seen. And in my organization
Right.
also, that's how things goes. So that's great, Siddhant. And like, so after how many days your managerial round was scheduled?
My managerial round was scheduled 1 day after my technical round.
Okay, next day. You are pretty lucky.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to wait for weeks just to get result, and
No.
after that scheduling the next round. So it
Right, right.
happens.
No, I just had to wait 1 day.
Okay.
So then they scheduled the second round.
And how was things in like managerial round? How it started?
So I went in there with a mindset that I think I have given pretty much. I mean, I have shown my technical skills in the technical round. So mostly the questions will be from management mindset or the
Mhm.
managerial perspective. But she started with some basics. Again, some Selenium and the Java questions, which were all pretty similar to what I answered in the technical round.
Hmm.
But then she asked me that whether you deal with the database as well. Do you know about SQL as well? So I
Hmm.
told them that yes, in my automation framework also, we constantly verify the data in the databases also. So we are working on MySQL server, and I know SQL. So she asked me that give me the third most highest salary you have
Yeah.
to write that query, the third highest salary you
Common,
have to
pretty
find.
common question.
Pretty common question.
Hmm.
So whoever is
Preparing
like
for
have
SQL.
prepared that for manual round, so they get it. I mean,
Perfectly
and
agree.
after, yeah, and after that only after this question, she got an idea that I know SQL.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So no further questions from SQL, and the next question was what do you understand by an API? So both
Yeah.
these questions were very like I was not. I know, no, I mean, I know because I worked, but I was not mentally prepared that she'll ask me these questions.
Yeah. So this is the thing which I have seen in managerial interviews. So like as a manager, what a manager expects that a QA guy with 5 to 7 years of experience. So like if he or she is going to ask you some selenium question, so that will not be too difficult, but like they want to know how many, like what's your like they will not go in the depth but the width of the subject. By width I mean what kind of different like tech stack you know, and in like what they want to see is that in which team they can fit you. So that was the
Right.
like that's the reason of them asking such kind of different like questions, that they want to evaluate you on what how how much you know on each field. So that's how they proceed.
Things were right. So
And
after answering that what is an API, I gave her a basic the definition that this is what an API. After that, she asked me that give me a real time example in your day-to-day life where you deal with an API.
hmm,
So I told her that if I want to log into Hotstar, Hotstar already gives me a suggestion to sign in with my Google account.
Google account, yeah.
So that is I mean they are already using APIs of Google to verify my
Yeah,
username and password. So she was like she got to know that okay,
satisfied
I
that
know about
you know API.
APIs.
Yeah, great,
So
perfect.
that is actually what they are looking for. They are looking for a multi-dimensional. I mean, someone who has knowledge on different areas, as you said,
Yeah, and again
because the
repeating,
requirements.
and again repeating that like API, the basic SQL are not considered a different skill set, but as an automation engineer, you are expected that these like the basic of SQL, like the basics of API, you should be aware of. So even if you are done with the Selenium and automation part, like I'll suggest you to just refresh your knowledge on the APIs and like RESTful APIs, water soap, at least know the difference between them, then basic SQL commands. So these kind, at least basic JMeter. You should know at least you should have seen the UI of JMeter, and you could say like even if you don't, if you, even if you have not worked on JMeter, so you can say that yeah, I know a basic idea, hands-on experience. So that's what they expect, and they want someone who can work. Like they don't want you to lead a team, but at least they want someone who can adjust in a team and proceed from there.
Right.
Yeah, great.
And
So
after that, the last question from our side in this API segment was to tell me something about the RESTful APIs. So
okay,
I politely said that I have no experience working on RESTful APIs, and I explained her that there was no requirement in my team, and we were expected to only manually verify the APIs.
okay,
So
great.
because it's not I mean, even I would not suggest anyone to say anything if she is asking any question. If you
Agree.
have given her, if you have shown enough knowledge, you can tell that this is an area and I'm working on. So I told her that I'm curious to learn API automation as well, but right now I did not get a
Yeah,
chance in my
that's a
company
that's a
to work on
smart
it.
thing you have done. Just give her a
Yeah,
diplomatic answer, and
right.
maybe like this is something you can give her hope that okay, they like Siddhant
Exactly.
can work on this. And like if you have worked on a framework, if you have developed a framework, then obviously learning RESTful APIs are not a big deal, and like
Not a big
within
deal.
2 to 3 months you can easily learn and like be a like as you start learning you can grow with it. And like, so within the managerial round, has she asked like what are your salary expectations or base location
No, no,
something?
nothing,
Nothing.
nothing like that.
Okay.
Nothing like that.
So
So those all things were taken care by the HR only.
okay, because in some organization, managerial like managers usually discuss what like the salary, not negotiation actually, but just like take an idea and regarding location, on which locations are you comfortable with, kind of thing.
Right,
So
right, right.
yeah. So like after your managerial round, after how many days like your next round happened with HR?
Yeah, so I just want to add the last thing that lastly she also asked me about agile, how
Okay.
we follow agile in our team. So you
Hmm.
have to like tell her that all the things like sprint planning meeting, a retrospective meeting,
Hmm.
and we actually don't follow all these, but I have studied, so I replied accordingly. What
Yeah,
was her
like
expectation?
we
So I
start from sprint planning, then with like daily stand-ups, then
yeah,
the
the daily
like
stand-ups.
sprint planning and like the retrospective on what things we
Uh,
have done good and what we can improve. So like these are four ceremonies, agile ceremonies that
exactly.
happens in a sprint. So like these are like you should know like these are basics. Even if you like just like Siddhant, even if you have not worked on it, at least like know, so that like it gives a like good impression that you are fully prepared.
Exactly.
Because in most of the service based organization I know like agile is not properly followed, but that's the beauty of agile. Like it says like get the work done, we don't want any documentation on how you are like doing things, but we just want to get the work done. So that's the beauty of agile.
Uh,
Perfect, Siddhant. So like that was your HR round, like the managerial
right,
round, managerial round.
managerial round, and after that she said it's okay, and I am okay with your round. And if you have any questions, so I just asked a question for the sake of asking a question. I just asked her like, how is the work environment in Optum and what team I'll be a part of. So she was telling me something which I was actually not hearing, just nodding because I was actually not interested much at that time, because
Hmm.
I was not sure whether I'll be selected or not.
Okay.
So, but it's always a good practice. So that if you can ask them a question, it shows that you are curious.
And one more like thing I would like to add, that why you should ask questions to managers, so that say tomorrow if you have three offer letters and you know like what kind of tech stack you are going to work in Sapient and what work are you going to do in like Optum. So there and then you can decide, okay, like if Sapient is working on Python and I'm more comfortable in Java, so like I should go with Optum. So this is one more positive of asking questions to
Exactly.
manager, so that you can know what kind of work they are doing.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
And after that, my interview got over. And after one day, I actually called the HR
Hmm.
that is there any update on my end. So she told me that you have cleared the round, and soon I'll call you with the salary discussions. And I think about 3 4 days she called me, after 3 4 days, and she asked my expectations, and obviously there was some negotiations, and after that we closed the deal.
So finally, are they able to match your expectations? What you initially expected?
Yes, actually, it's my first switch, so my expectations were actually not very high.
Yeah, great.
So, and I was not very aware about the market, and I would like to tell that switching from TCS, I got in Optum around 3 times the package which I was getting in
Okay.
TCS.
Yeah.
So even though with market rates it it can be like still I would have asked for more, but still it's a very good jump, I think.
Yeah, 200% is a pretty decent jump. Yeah, that's
Right.
great. So, like, after how many days with the HR discussion, you got the offer letter?
I got the offer letter, I think about a week after
Okay,
that.
after a week.
Yeah, but I would like to tell anyone that please keep following up with them.
Yeah, that shows like how
So
much interested you are,
interested you are.
and don't be just after them every day. So that also
Hmm,
pisses off the HR, because like they are not
exactly.
only dealing with you, they have at least 15 to 20 candidates like lining up for interviews, giving offer letters. So like don't, and I will suggest like mail them or text them, don't call them, because like it it generally pisses them off, I know. So
Exactly, exactly.
uh, yeah. So great, Siddhant. Like within, I think 10 to 12 days, everything right from your first,
Exactly.
yeah, everything happened.
Went
So
well.
really great. So in last, Siddhant, any advice you would like to give to anyone like who is preparing, like who is currently in manual testing and in a service-based organization and planning to switch in automation and or a product-based organization? So what suggestion, like three suggestions? Give me three suggestions.
Sure. So I think the first suggestion which I'll give to a manual, so someone who is working in a manual team, is to come out of that comfort zone and come out of that mindset that you will not be able to do coding. It's
Hmm.
not something which you are born with. Obviously, no one is a born coder, and it took me also a lot of time to get over this thing. I could have switched to a better organization, I think about 2 to 3 years back, but
Hmm.
that confidence we are always lagging. So first of all, I would like to appreciate you Shailesh, that you are doing such good work for the community, the QA community, that they are getting aware that okay, people from service based company can go to product based companies. They just need to come out of that comfort zone. So just start with the basic coding, and start with syntaxes to take help from any of your peers. And if you're stuck in a company, it's not the company's mistake.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's I
it's
totally agree.
actually our.
Yeah, I agree with you, Siddhant, on this. That like I also worked before this. Like currently, I'm in a product-based organization, and before this, like my two organizations were service-based, and like I have seen the policies and the kind of work there. So like I have made a dedicated video on the differences between both of them. It's not just about salary. Believe me, guys, it's not just about salary.
Exactly,
It's more about the environment, your peers, like more you get more sharp and technical peers, your manager, like right from leaves to, if you have to take a leave, you don't have to like give the reason even to your manager. And like it's like endless, the list is endless. And like you should always like target for a product based company, even if you are getting a little amount less than the
exactly.
service based organization. So yeah, that was my 2 cents on that. So second point, Siddhant.
Yeah, the second point would be to the people who are already working in or already learning automation, but they have no hands-on experience. So I would like to tell them that if you can ask in your team, because I asked in my team, I asked my manager that I personally went to Udemy, YouTube,
Hmm.
multiple sources, and learned Selenium by myself. And when I was pretty comfortable, I started understanding the core Java and the basics of Selenium. I asked my manager that I want to work in the automation team. So take that initiative.
Hmm.
I just want to tell people that it's okay, that you will be able to switch in a better organization or in automation domain only by going through YouTube tutorials or uh, Udemy
Yeah,
tutorials, but that hands-on experience.
there are some paid
Uh,
tutorials also. Like I can
right,
like name a few. Like there is Naveen Automation Labs, then there is a channel called
exactly,
Testing Mini Bytes, and I have
exactly,
personally like taken help from them. And like before going to paid one, at least have some spend some time over Udemy. Like within 500 rupees you can get a like Selenium course, and it will give you a hands-on experience. So what Siddhant is saying is pretty true, that you have to take the initiative. Like there will not be a day that your manager will come to you and ask that, okay Siddhant, like I want you to work on automation. Before that you have to like take some initiative, learn something, and it will not be an easy and like easy going path. So like there will be some obstacles in it, but in the second or third iteration you will be able to like relate things, that
exactly,
how things are like how like Selenium is related to Java and every these kind of things. And after like learning Selenium and automation, try to learn little bit of Git so that you can push your code. And after that, like the CI/CD I already discussed, pick up a CI/CD tool and work on it. And nowadays Docker is pretty important, because like
exactly,
earlier we used to like work with the virtualization, that we have four like PCs, physical PCs, and we run parallel execution on them. But now like Docker is coming, AWS is coming, so you can take
exactly,
like EC2 instances, like 10 EC2 instances, and run your parallel execution over them. So these kind of things, like just get started with Selenium, complete it within 3 months, and in the next 3 months learn these things. Because as an interviewer, I want that even if you are like little bit less in Selenium, and if you are okay with these kind of infrastructure things, then it will be a big advantage for you.
exactly. Yeah, so the last advice would be a generic advice, and it's not specific to any coders or any QA automation engineer, but anyone who is trying to upscale themselves in any area in their life, is to have some patience and have some perseverance. So actually, these two are very important things, because there will be days when you will try to come out of your comfort zone. Your brain is wired in such a way that you will feel that, okay, it's not the right path where I am going. It's too difficult, and I am not comfortable. But you have to get comfortable with that uncomfortable situation. So gradually things improve. Gradually you will learn. Just have that patience and have that belief, and just show up every day. Just open your laptop, try to solve one problem, even it's a very small problem. But gradually, over a period of 2 to 3 months, you will yourself see that how you are improving.
Yeah,
So that's what.
totally agree with you, Siddhant, on this. You have put up a beautiful point regarding patience and perseverance. So patience is something, because like initially you will your motivation. So if you have watched any inspirational video, or if you have seen your friend like jumping to 30 LPA, so you will get that initial inspiration. But what patience teaches us is that like to show up and have some like have some patience to wait for at least 6 months to show how the results are working on your behalf. And perseverance is showing up every day. So like what I have seen my friends doing is that they will like they will make a sprint on weekends, and they'll not work from Monday to Friday. So that should not be the case. Even if you get at least half an hour, just show up every day, and that's what matters. And that every day will count. And in the end it will become so big that like whatever the goal which you have set for yourself, either for automation or for anything in life, I'm sure you can achieve that. And Siddhant is an example of this, that like in TCS is going to Optum, and I'm sure like within years he will reach some heights. So thank
Thanks.
you, Siddhant.
Thanks for
Thank you for like coming and sharing your experience. It was great. Like
Thank you for inviting me and having me, Shashalis. And again, I would say that he's doing a very good uh, work for the community. So all the subscribers, they just keep supporting him, and there is a very good, insightful uh, uh, what can we say, the content on his channel, that you can get the in-depth knowledge without actually getting into their organization, but you will understand like what is happening within the area. So
Thank you, Siddhant, for your kind words. That was really
uh,
motivating for me also. So, like my idea of making this channel is that whatever I have like gone through, so I don't like generally reveal this side of myself, but like 2 to 3 years back, I decided to quit IT just because like I was doing manual testing, I was paid less, like there was no motivation, and literally like I decided to like quit IT and do something else, probably some kind of teaching on anything. But then like I have some seniors who motivated me, who told me to just like keep on learning, just like what you told me. So like I have come through here like from the bottom, so I know what like if even if you're learn like even if you are like watching me and having manual experience, so don't worry, like within 6 months you can turn down the tables, and 6 months is more than enough to learn automation and to get in good companies. Just like keep
exactly,
on like I'll not say like just from my channel or anything, but whatever you feel good like, so just like go through them and keep on revising is very much necessary. So like if you follow, this is more than enough for you to like learn automation and switch jobs, because at the end
exactly,
switching jobs will only like increase your package. And like this is a very like what our older people say, that like money is not everything, but like money is kind of like it's something. So just have
exactly.
that, and I'm sure like with Siddhant and each and every one of you watching will reach a greater heights. So with this like thank you guys for watching, and you all have a nice day. Thank you, Siddhant, for coming.
Thank you, Shailendra.
Bye guys.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.